March 29th, self-importance. Humble yourselves under the mighty power of God, and at the right time he will lift you up in honor. That's 1 Peter 5:6. This is my daily devotional. So the creator of this devotional writes, traffic jams, grocery store lines on Saturday mornings, and the DMV. Did your heart just quicken? Unless you have a great book to read or you were born with the proverbial patience of a saint, waiting is at its best an inconvenience. Have you ever stopped to wonder why? Pondering patience leads to exploring another uncomfortable concept, humility. We are impatient, but why? Is our time any more important than anyone else's? To God, the answer is an unequivocal no. How can you become more patient? It's very broad. It makes you think like, I can become more patient by just trying to be patient, but it's actionable steps that you should try to consider. So I just wrote 4 bullet points. I'm not sure if anyone just wants to maybe hear what I have to say and maybe they could relate to it. I wrote, remembering that I can have a positive or negative experience. The situation that requires patience doesn't change regardless. Think of something that you are in a waiting season right now. You don't know how long it's gonna take, and you need that piece to arrive or to move for all the other puzzle pieces to kind of get in alignment and everything start to make sense. This door closes, and so we can open this next door. I feel like as humans, we're constantly just feeding off of, all right, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Sometimes these next things require us to learn something, and that requires patience. Are you gonna be in a bad mood in that waiting season, or are you gonna rely on your faith in that waiting season? I think when you're in a bad mood, it doesn't do anything. It only causes tension in your heart, in your mind, in your relationships, in your household. And as women, we're called to build our home. And when I think of that, I think in the season that I'm in right now, a waiting season, I can only contribute in a healthy way. I can contribute by controlling the controllables, which really is, I can't control much. But what I feel like I can control is my attitude, my perspective, my reactions, my responses, and my mentality as best as possible. Even when, patience could bring up other things, can trigger other feelings that you didn't know you still had. The reliance on God and your faith is revealed in the waiting season. 2, believing that God wouldn't slow me down without a greater reason. So when you think of patience, like in a day-to-day scenario, maybe there's traffic, maybe your car breaks down, maybe you just have to make a stop that you weren't expecting, or something just interrupts your day. A lot of people can just rush through all those moments and rush, and then next thing you know, they have all this built-up anxiety. They're overwhelmed and they're just rushing, when really, like, if you're going to the grocery store, you don't have an appointment to go to the grocery store. Even if you do have an appointment, what is the worst that can happen? You can call ahead of time and say, hey, this happened, can I reschedule? Something. Like, you just have to think, in your perspective, it's not the end of the world. I know that I suffered from that when it came to just rushing the littlest things throughout the day. Naturally, I think we live in our mind than living where our feet are and in the present moment. And we don't realize where you're just rushing throughout life. And the perspective that a lot of people have when it comes to that, of those like setbacks, is just, okay, maybe I wasn't supposed to be on the road at that time. Trying to make it about a perspective shift, that it's not something that is constantly working against you, or like there's a force that's constantly working against you. Believing that God would never put you behind or put you too forward. You're always on time when you have God. My next one that I wrote, even small moments of practicing patience can help me in big moments. I think that answers itself. The last one, which I think stood out to me the most, is in this Bible verse, 1 Peter 5:6, where it says, humble yourselves under the mighty power of God. Not for yourself, not for the world, but for him. it's kind of too skewed in one way if you're doing it for yourself, because it's not everlasting at the same time. You can't fix yourself, you know, like I'm humbling myself before myself because I can fix myself and I'm the only one that knows the best for myself. And I don't believe that's true. That's not what God tells us. Also, humble yourselves before the world. Humble yourselves before man. Why? Who are you performing for? Who are you trying to make a point to when no one's stamp of approval matters but the Lord's? When you put your faith and your trust in him, that you welcome the Spirit of God to move through you and work through you for something that is as challenging as patience and humility, you give God the glory. You're not getting any glory. Maybe you could, you know, be like, wow, like this time around, I really handled a situation that normally stresses me out, normally makes me stressed because I have to be patient or because I have to put others before myself, whatever. You could acknowledge, you know, that bridge of where you were and where you are now, but that wasn't your doing. It was your surrendering to the Lord, letting him work through you, because he calls you to be patient and he calls you to be kind and humble and have all of these fruits of the Spirit. I think you welcome God to work magic, to do what he does best. And before you know it, the next time you're in a season that requires you to just surrender, it's going to be a lot easier. You don't have fear. You don't have anxious thoughts. You don't feel the need to control anything. And that is God working through you, through your surrender. That is the topic of self-importance. You are not that important. The importance is the glory you give to God to work through you and work through your life. If you don't have a devotional, get one on Amazon, go to Ross, get one. Doesn't have to be the most extravagant, detailed one. Just one that requires you to sit, be still, get the word of God, and get your daily bread. It's all that matters. So I'll talk to you guys on the next daily devotional.